incredible day of trading here for ticker symbol FNGR. I have a few things for us to take a look at here because it looks like the play has changed, facing all of the pressures to the upside from the broader markets. So let's go ahead and dive in deep into these charts and get this thing validated to find out exactly what could happen for the following sessions. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with an FNGR technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis on this happy Friday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, team, so we are looking at the daily chart here, and what you're seeing here is, of course, a huge bullish engulfing, right? Look at this right here. Apologize if you hear my voice a little off, team. We actually streamed for around 4 hours today, right? So very exciting day with a lot of tickers. So this right here, what you're looking at is the forward candle, green candle, engulfing the prior red one entirely within its body, right? So this is how you identify a bullish engulfing formation. And this is also a way that you can identify a potential upside coming in. For example, here on this iteration, this is a bearish engulfing, right? You have the forward candle in red engulfing the prior one in green, and then you get the downside, right? So you can see quite the inverse right now. A lot of things are suggesting for this to continue to the upside. Of course, we're going to be facing some pressures on that way up, so and also pressures of which we can use as opportunities for a continuation, right? So next thing to notice here, yeah, you're going to notice here that I do have my notes, right? Because it's starting to get there's a lot of things to talk about, and I want to make sure that we can keep everybody in you know, these are for you, right? So that you can see exactly what I'm thinking of. I could easily have this in my other screen, right? But I felt that it could be useful for you to also view, right? So next thing that we want to touch on here is I actually meant to do this, right? Is the daily golden cross. Okay, so yet again, we're getting even closer to it. Guys, this is converging very close and very dangerously close to each other. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that the price action is going to react pretty positively when this thing does cross upside of when the SMA 50 crosses upside of the SMA 200. Okay, so this is getting really close to it, and I just have to say that this is how traditionally you identify a bull market trend. Right, it's upon the daily SMA 50 crossing upside of the SMA 200. Okay, so that's just about it for this chart here. Let's go ahead and move on to the next chart. That's going to be chart number 2. All right, so first of all, we're going to start off with the 5-day breakout retest of the Gaussian band. Okay, so this is what I mean by that. This is the 5-day prior candle. We have the breakout, and this current candle that we have today is the retest. It is the retest of the Gaussian top. Okay, so upon the breakout, this is where we had the silver cross, right? So for the 5-day, for the 5-day in particular. So what I'm trying to say here is that you see how the price action reacted pretty positively here, right? Upon that grab of the silver cross. So it broke outside of the Gaussian band, and then now that we're starting the new candle, we came back and validated perfectly right at the support of it. This could be the validation process before a continuation to the upside. Okay, so now let's pull up the weekly, right? So the weekly does have, sorry about that, we can do it like this, right? The weekly does have its own implications too. Check this out. Notice what's happening here. We're getting that cross, that silver cross, the one that our analyst, Sebastian Lim, called out, right, just a few days ago. Look at this. We just got it, and look at what the price action did. Right, so during today's live session, literally none of us caught it, right? None of us saw it, and we're wondering, like, what's going on? Like, why is this thing pushing to the upside? Despite the fact that the broader markets were already, you know, mega pumping over here, right? So, thus creating a lot of pressure to the upside for a lot of tickers. So, what I'm trying to say here is that we do have a bullish trend in line. Okay, so we could be facing a continuation to the upside here to some pretty nice targets. Okay, but we want to validate that first. We want to make an educated guess before we continue on, okay? So let's do this real quick. Let's see. the weekly silver cross. And yeah, there is one more thing here that we need to look at. It's a biweekly Gaussian resistance. Okay, so nice, we got that. Let's look at the biweekly time frame. This is what I mean by the Gaussian resistance on the biweekly. Okay, so this is coming up to around, I'd say about 652. Right, so 652 is a target that I want you to remember. Okay, so let's go ahead and just put it down here as a 652. Right, so we're gonna leave that there because we need to remember that target. There is something, or there are some things kind of rhyming within that. Okay, so we're now pointing it out that we're officially coming back to test the Gaussian band on the biweekly. We're getting that bounce to the upside, and we're already knocking at the door, right at the top side of the band here. So the natural resistance of it, yes, well, it's 652 to 716, which there is a lot rhyming there. I guess I can just take it into consideration like this, right? Yeah, let me just mark it off like that. Okay, we know that it's 716. I get it, right? It says, unfortunately, 717 on this one, but I don't want to zoom in right now. Okay, team, so yeah, this is the natural resistance that we're looking for. But we want to keep an eye on 652. But regardless, let's move on. Okay, so the chart number 3, we're going to go ahead and go over the reversion variant topside resistance, okay, because it does have the confluence with the bi-weekly Gaussian band. And we can put 2W for the week, for the bi-weekly, right? So go ahead and check it out right over here, 655. So this is what you're looking at here is pretty much a Gauss. I'm sorry, what is it called? The Bollinger Band, right? Measuring volatility. So the top side of that is pretty much 655. So we can already see that there's huge confluence within that. Here's another thing. Check this out. As I move the time frames upward, look at this now. 683, 626. Hold on. It's going to get a little closer here. 584. But let me pull up. I think it was the monthly. The monthly here is where this is us knocking at the door. And this was us reverting all the way back down to 316 within this month. Back to the mean, right at 303, sorry, which was pretty much the 301 target that we were talking about, 303, right around there. We have the SMA 10 conversion on the monthly, right? Also, we have the SMA 10 conversion on the daily. Check this out, SMA 10 green line. And we're converting the mean band into a support too. So now this is where I'm saying that we could be facing a short-term pullback. The fact that we're breaking outside of this, and we would need to obviously, it doesn't have to happen. I'm just saying, price action doesn't have to do anything, right? Volume doesn't have to do anything. In fact, sometimes it's quite the we know how the markets are being played here with the algorithmic systems and stuff like that. So in all reality, volume also doesn't even have to be present for an upside continuation here. What we have to respect is the fact that we have signals here and supports and resistances, and also some potential top side areas to look at, like the Bollinger Bands. I mean, we can't really use that as a resistance top because you see that it never really works out so perfectly, right? So in this case, we have a potential that we can face that resistance top, right? So yeah, I guess the top side the furthest top side that we saw here was 683, which gives some more validity to the top side that we're looking at 716, right? So this is in regarding this top side here. So that 683 is landing right in between. Remember how I tell you guys live that for some reason the discretionary targets that I put up end up pretty much with a nice target in between. So this is it yet again. You're going to continue noticing this of me, right? So the thing is that I'm not trying to do it. It just is what it is, right? And it just appears as such. So now we have a topside resistance with a mean within it. So 50%, which is perfect, team. That's exactly what we need. We need consistency here in order for us to validate. I'm sorry that this video is going to take a little bit long here, but what I do have to point out is that, yes, while we are on an upside to this target here, it does not mean that we're going to go there right away. Okay, so of course, anything can be invalidated by what I'm saying, and then this thing could just very well rocket ship to the moon, and then we're all millionaires, right? So yeah, I get that, but that's not the. Sometimes that's not the reality, and we have to face the play the way it is. Okay, so I do see an immediate short-term pullback coming up before we do touch these targets. Okay, so that's exactly what I want to go to next on chart number 4. Okay, so chart number 4 is displaying to you pretty much what we've been seeing on the live streams, right? So we were in the belief that we were going to get this resistance from 525 and get the completion of this shoulder all the way back down to potentially 438 to, I guess the lowest end would have been 385. And this was our call out here. This was the pretty much the bear trap that we're talking about, right? So I'm not gonna lie, right? This is already a pretty nice reversal considering the upside that we've already faced. Just to be clear here, right? 525 to the bottom side of that range, you're looking at almost minus 15% drawback or a drawdown, right? From that top side that we were able to, like, this was literally where I just took profits on some call options, right? And I left one in there, one lucky one. I left it in there, right? So today, because I don't like exposure of options contracts over the weekend, I actually took it, right? I took the 83% profit. Okay, so now what I'm looking at here is something very specific. Okay, so first of all, 548, the top side of this range, right? So 548 at the top side of this range to 556 being the 2-spot 618. I'm going to just draw the line like this. Okay, we'll have it there. This is the zone that I'm looking at for resistance before a pullback. And now the pullback would be very specific too. Okay, so I'm not going to say that we're going to pull all the way back down, but there's always that possibility. What I am going to say here, though, is that we are in the process of potentially building a double shoulder, double-headed head and shoulders, right? So you have shoulder, shoulder, head, head, and potentially a shoulder and shoulder with a slightly higher top. So, but yet again, just even to it's still okay. It's still fine. It has the same potency. It doesn't make it any stronger or weaker, right? Having a double shoulder, double head, it's fine, right? It's cool. You can even see this as triple as well, right? So I just want to put out kind of the structure, right? Because if humans tend to do something, if computers tend to do something, and it's literally repetition, right? It's literally within the name of algorithm. Right, so that's what I'm seeing, team. We could potentially pull back from 548 to 556. That pullback would be very limited, though. I do have to warn. Okay, so we may get a pullback as low. The technical resistance. I'm sorry, the technical what was a resistance is actually 501. Okay, so that would give us a range now. Okay, so 501 to 477. Keep your eyes on that. Okay, so let's see. That would be pullback to 501 to 477. So yeah, I feel like this is gonna work out for us pretty good, right? To keep this to keep the notes here, at least for this video, right? I'm not sure that I can do this all the time, right? But you know, at least for us to keep the notes, and these would also be the receipts, right? So anyway, team, let's go ahead and move on. And I actually started running a back test here, volatility versus momentum. 12-hour time frame surprisingly only has 4 iterations. It has a 50-50 percent shot that the upside would be guessed correctly. But when you're upside of the 50% of stochastic momentum, that's pretty much a correct iteration. We have increasing volatility. The criteria here is anytime that we have contracted into critical areas, which is the 15th percentile of volatility, paired with an upside pivot of stochastic momentum, we would then take the measurement of the iteration, right? So it would be duration, upside thrust versus consistency. So it would be that would be upside accuracy versus not accuracy, right? So incorrect versus correct. I haven't taken note of the notes just yet because there's only 2 iterations, and I don't want to practice on that. Right. So, and one of them being quite the outlier. So this is 1,188 spot, 36% to the upside, 24-day period. And then you have a 30% 2-day period. So they're very, very, very different. And I don't want to create statistical variable based on this, right? But what I can say is that we are highly likely continuing to the upside here, right? So because of the obvious reasons, right? So anyway, let's go ahead and touch it down on the last part of the analysis here, team. This is going to be the RSI, right? So we're already facing a bounce. A rejection from the gravitational zone here on the 30-minute hourly time frame, actually. Upside pivot on the RSI. On the RSI, this is the SMA 14. What I meant to say is upside on the RSI signal and upside on the SMA 14, represented by the pink line. We're starting to get that upside bias here in the bi-hourly too. Rejection from the gravitational zone, upside pivot, nice. 6-hour time frame does have an upside pivot, the SMA 14, that is, right? And also we are right in the gravitational zone of the bull weakness percentile. So if you don't recall correctly, you know what, I'm going to have to make some individual videos here for all of the indicators. I am, by the way, for the ARQ indicators, but as far as my personal ones, I will make some videos about these too, right? So that I could link a link at the top right or something when I do pass these. So the upper end, the upper 50% is the bullish control zone. Bottom area, the bottom 50% is the bearish control zone. The inner workings are the weakness percentile, and the strength percentile are within the outskirts, right? So this is the bull strength, bear strength, bear weakness percentile, bull weakness percentile, and then 2% down, 2% up of every single every single junction would be your gravitational zones, right? So yeah, that's how I look at momentum, team. That's how I observe it. Right, so we're within the gravitational zone right now of the bull weakness percentile with an upside pivot on both SMA 14 and the RSI, highly likely going to continue to the upside. And yet again, see this? We're right in the gravitational zone of the bull weakness percentile here, 12-hour time frame, upside pivot on the SMA 14, highly likely continuing. This is where it's at. Daily time frame resistance coming up. So the resistance is not only the SMA 14, but it's also within the gravitational zone of the bull strength. So this is where this pullback is relevant. Okay, so I really am thinking that we could make the upside here to resist. Right, so we can do it like this, right? So we'll go ahead and note it down so that we all have it. So resist from 548, I think I said. Yeah, 548 to 556. Resist from 548 to 556 at the 2-spot 6-hour chart, okay? We want to be as concise as we can be, but we also want to be as precise as we can be, although that's not going to really happen. We're going to just try to be as accurate as we could be with absolute variance, right? So here you go, team. So the daily time frame, the 12-hour, that's incredible. Daily time frame, small resistance. It looks like it's going to be a temporary pullback, and the reason why I can say that is because your 3-day time frame. Let me see the bi-daily. Yeah, bi-daily similar resistance, right? But temporary pullback because your 3-day is supporting from the gravitational zone and the SMA 14 with a very nice structure here, right? So it's still suggesting a continuation to the upside. Similar situation here with the with the 5-day. This is bouncing from the gravitational zone, facing that rejection from the gravitational zone and still continuing to the upside with an upside pivot on SMA 14. Please go ahead and keep these notes because they're going to be critical in the coming days, team. I expect volatility to start entering here, and we may get the opportunities fairly quickly. Okay, so I'm going to try my best to start the stream at 6:30 in the morning. Hopefully before, I'm not sure, but we're going to try it on Monday, come Monday. Okay, team. But like always, team, right, I do have to remind you to please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. Okay, team, I need you to really do your own due diligence, and everything will be absolutely cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well, a very good rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you at the bell on Monday. Adios.